Hey guys, so today I thought it would be fun to have an in-depth look at Lane 8, study some of his songs, and then try and build something, closer to his style. So what I've done is I've just gone onto Spotify, looked at his top 10 popular songs, taken out a notepad and jotted down things that I've noticed about them. Starting at the top, what I'm going to do is just create the melodic sort of theme of the song based off what I've heard in his, and then we will move down to drums and finish off the tune. So first thing I noticed with Lane 8 songs, out of 10 of these songs, 8 of them are written in major keys. So this is what contributes to that hopeful, nostalgic, uplifting emotion that you hear in his songs. Whereas I find most other artists, electronic artists at least, tend to write in minor keys and go for that like melancholic kind of sound. Lane 8's one of the few artists that seems to write predominantly in major. And that's myself included. I don't ever write in major, so this is going to be quite difficult for me, I anticipate. So I'm going to just choose C major because I'm a big dum-dum and I can't remember any other keys. So let's just, and another thing I noticed was the BPM of each tune. Most of them seem to be in 122, sometimes 124, 125. So let me just go to 122 BPM. And let's make some MIDI here. Might be a bit long. And now I'm just going to write in C major, which is all the white notes. One of these notes. That's your C major scale. And let me just first talk a bit about his like melodic theme. So what I've noticed, and I've written this down here, is the melodic theme I hear in his tracks is he likes to create like a motif, or like an ARP sound that just keeps looping throughout the song and gets stuck in your head. And then because that can get pretty boring, like over a 5-minute track, he creates his harmonic interest by changing just the bass notes that are happening below that, like repetitive melodic melody or ARP or whatever it is. So that's what I'm going to do for this. And so the first sound that we're going to create will probably be an ARP or a motif of sorts. I haven't actually prepared anything, so we're going to be doing this completely from scratch because I know people like to see the more raw kind of style of tutorial like this. So for this first sound, I'm going to choose probably Diva and then just make like an ARP. So let's just talk about the sound design for a second. So the sound design is usually like a simplistic kind of analog waveform, like saws or square waves. He likes to create imperfections like subtle pitch drifting. It makes it sound like the instrument was recorded to old tape. And this helps to add to the nostalgic emotion in his tracks. So it's kind of like that lo-fi kind of feel. And I notice this quite a lot, like he'll have chords or an ARP or something that sounds like it kind of slightly drifts out of tune every once in a while. And it really like adds to that nostalgic vibe. And then he also likes to make use of glide and portamento and pitch bends and stuff, but I've noticed he does that more in his bass lines than with his ARPs and melodies. So let's go ahead and make something like an ARP. This might take a while, so forgive me if it does. But I want to try and make something that actually sounds nice. So let's grab Diva. Okay, so we're just going to keep it to a simple saw waveform over here. And there's my Siri picking up on shit. Shut up, Siri. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to keep it to a simple saw wave. And we need to initialize the preset. I like to just grab the mini mono or mini poly. We're just going to have one oscillator for now. Okay, then let's just bring down the cutoff. Okay, so we've just created a preset now. We've just used the mini poly template. And then bring down the cutoff. And make it into a bit more of a plucky sound. So let's bring down that sustain and the attack envelope. See if we can add some vibrato. Okay, so I'm going to not use Diva for this because I'm not that great with Diva, even though I use it quite a bit. I don't actually know how to do like things like vibrato and pitch bending and stuff, so I'm probably just going to use Serum for this. So let's grab a Serum. Actual Serum. Okay, and then let's just make that into a plucky envelope. Let's grab it like a more analog waveform, so maybe the basic Moog. I like the sound of that. And then let's create some interest by making like a sine wave, like almost like a vibrato kind of thing. So we'll attach this LFO to the fine tune. Might be a bit too extreme. Just go into the matrix. Okay, we're going to keep it really simple and then just add a little filter to it. And then add another envelope to this filter and just give it a pluck shape too. Just give some boost to the master. Maybe some drive to give it a bit of grit. And then I'm going to add some reverb. Let's try some room reverb. Okay, so that's fairly simple, and I think the last thing I want to add is noise. And I'm going to add that through the filter, so we're going to filter it out. Then when the filter's open, we'll hear it. Make that a bit darker. Let's just change this to 18. Okay, now that's our sound design. We'll probably go back and tweak it later, but let's go ahead and start writing something with this. So I'm just going to start messing around with the MIDI until I come up with something that I think sounds okay. That sounds alright. Let me just try and make a different one and see if we can get something better. Okay. Quite like that. Let's try a run with this one. I think what I like about this one is that it's playing the CB, which is not as like happy and uplifting and slightly more emotional, rather than if it was to be like a bigger gap. Okay. Let's try and run with this. Let's just see how it sounds an octave up. Okay, and then as per the notepad, yeah, so we're gonna add now a bass below that, and that's where we're gonna change the harmony of the track. That's where like the whole harmonic theme is gonna come from. Because alone this is not very exciting, but it has potential. But I think, you know, if we add some sort of a bass melody to it, that'll sound really great. So for this I'll use Diva. Okay, we're going to make one long progression here, I think. Let's just grab another template and just use the mini mono. Bring down the cutoff on that. This is just going to be a very basic patch. And I think I want to add like a bit of glide to it. Yeah. Maybe a bit of decay on it will be nice. Bring down the sustain. Okay, and maybe just a bit of attack to get rid of that click. Okay, so let's put a note here at C. It's a bit low. I'm just going to shift these up one more octave so that I can hear it, the bass line more clearly. Oops. So 1, 3, and yeah, so that's the major third, and that's the that's 8, 7, that's the 6th. So we need to resolve this, so maybe we can go up to 7th, which will resolve back into the 1 nicely. No, I don't think I like that. Let's try something else. I quite like that, but maybe what we can do is shift these down. Yeah, how it sounds. let's try and extend these a bit so that the glide works. Okay, now I'm thinking the melody could probably use a bit more variation, maybe at the end here. So let's see if we can just try something else out. Okay, that kind of works. Now I think we need to have a look at a bit more of the sound design just to make this a bit more interesting. So I didn't notice a big use of delays, which can usually really help, bring life to an ARP like this. So I'm going to leave out the delays for now. And just try and make this interesting, in other ways. So let's try and automate this and see how it sounds. Now we'll automate the cutoff a bit. Okay, that sounds a little bit more interesting. Let's just try a bit of portamento on that. No, I don't think so. And now let's try and use a bit of his pitch drifting method, so like that kind of tape sound. And the one way I know how to do this is to grab this shape, slight movement, the LFO, and assign it to the global master tuning. LFO2, global master tuning. And then just set this to a really slow rate. And then bring this up and just set it to that's quite subtle, but I want it to shift up and down, so I'm going to move all these points up into the center here. Maybe make a bit more drastic kind of a change over there. Let's this here, and then like the one up there. Maybe move this a bit further away so it's more spread out. And let's make this unipolar, because now this line is sitting in the middle. Let's just make it drastic so we can hear it very clearly. Okay, so now that we've got that, I need to add more interest, because we are not going to be adding very much more in terms of elements to this track. This little loop is the main core, the driving force of the track, so we need to make it really interesting. So let's just keep an eye on this. Filter cutoff, and bit repetitive now, so maybe we can add some more changes in there, and like shift this one up a bit, maybe add another, yeah, maybe make this one a bit brighter, and bring that down. So it's all about making, you know, this envelope sound a bit different. I mean, this automation sounding a bit different to this one. And then maybe once this whole thing repeats, we can add another variation to make this whole section unique to this section. So we could maybe, you know, bring up the reverb a bit in this section. There's the reverb's a bit more mixed in over there. Another thing we can do is maybe try mixing in another waveform. Maybe 2 octaves up. What I want to try and do is a nice way to make like a vintagey sound is to FM from noise, because that creates like a weird tuning effect. Maybe just subtly like that. Okay, so maybe we can mix this in for this section. Okay, another thing we can do to add a little bit of interest to this is to add a groove to it. So I'm just going to search AGR in Ableton, and then we're going to add a bit of a groove to it. Let's try like using these MPC ones, and I usually go for around 57. So let's try this one. Let me just commit it to make sure that it is actually doing stuff. Yeah, it is. I'm just going to undo that now. So this, you don't need to hit commit for it to actually work. Commit only writes it visually. So once you've hit commit, you couldn't then, go and change it back to none. So you can't, this way you can A-B between them. So now it's on none. Now you can hear it's got a bit of that swing. It's like a bounce to it. Yeah, I just want to try and see what happens because I want to add a bit of like stereo interest to this sound. What happens if we add unison? See, now we have the sound sort of popping around the stereo field, which sounds nice. Maybe we can just add in a very subtle delay. I'm gonna grab Echo Boy. Okay, now what I'm going to do, because this is in C major, I feel like the key might be a little bit high. I'd like the bass, the sub, to be a little bit lower, so I'm just going to test out a few of these notes. A few keys, and what I like to do is just grab the MIDI and solo it and listen to the sub. And maybe what we do is we go to the lowest note and make sure that it's still audible. I think that might be as low as I'd want to go, so let's hear how the full thing sounds. Okay, then let's shift this one down to A flat, same as that one. Just hear how they sound together. You can hear how these like changes in volume and stuff react nicely with the delays. So let's do that. Okay. What else can we do to make this sound nice? Well, let's just make sure that there's no low end in it first. Oh, there's quite a lot of low end. Another thing we can actually play with is the decay of the amp envelope to make it a bit longer and shorter. Actually, we can probably make it longer and shorter on both the decay amp envelope and the filter cutoff. You can assign it to both. And let's just bring that down a bit just to see how this sounds. Yeah, so maybe at the end here we can bring up the decay a bit. For that to really work, we should probably set these all to legato so that the notes end up touching each other like that. That's sounding pretty nice. Okay, and then what else do we have like in terms of melodic elements? I'll just go back to my little handy notepad. So sound design, this is not very organized. Ambient textures. I wrote something about, yeah, E pianos. So we've got a Korg M1 and I think Ableton has a Wurlitzer. Here we go, subtle low pass leads. So there you go. Other sounds I hear often are things like subtle low pass leads. They're nice and wide and pushed back in the mix with reverb. The point of these leads is to add more harmonic variation to the track. Yeah, exactly. So the track is like, you know, we've got lots of things changing now and evolving. But we could definitely add another like lead element, you know, that could probably come in, you know, in the second half of the song or something, just to, you know, give the listener something new and exciting to hear. So let's do that, but first let me save this all. Lane 8. And let's make another channel, and then I'm gonna grab, search for this. Let's grab this one because it's nice and soft. And what I'm going to do now is just have that as one whole section, and this is another one. And this is going to be where we're going to add the whirly in. So let's add something that sort of changes over that kind of a space. Like, what is that? 16 bars. And for this sound, just low pass that. What I'm going to do is pretty much just soak it in reverb. Could probably use a shimmer or something. And the shimmer is also quite nice because it has that pitch shift. So it's shifting up 12 semitones. And maybe 12 semitones is a bit drastic. Should we try and do it a fifth? So we can make it 7. Okay. And maybe decrease the size a bit. Okay, so that's like nice and in the background. Now we just tried different harmonies here. Maybe starting off on the root note is a bit boring. That movement was quite nice. That din din. Maybe what we can do is extend this out and have it come in just before. Was it the? Is that actually in key? Let's see. I'm not sure if it is. Let me just... The way I like to test this is to just transpose it back into C major. Should probably learn my scale. So if we put something on C sharp here and move this back up to C major, yeah, that is in key. Just sounded a bit strange. Okay, so sounds strange over there, but here let's just roll with it for now. Yeah, no, there's something off with that. So I think I'm just going to start on the C. Let's try and time this nicely. I'm going to turn off this, bring down the reverb a bit. And then we could probably just have that come back around over here. maybe this could just change entirely. And then up. There you go, so this is kind of just like a background thing that's going to be mixed in, you know, not too loud. Okay, cool. So that's most of our melodic element of the track taken care of. Last thing I might want to try and add is just maybe just like some subtle chords. I noticed he also likes to create like kind of almost like bouncy chords. Sound like they have some sort of LFO on them or something. So what we can do is grab these, make a new channel, and just make them legato again, and then make our chords out of this. So I'm just going to push these, duplicate them, and go up 7 semitones to make a fifth. What I'm going to do is actually just shift these up to C and then make my triads like this. We have C, E, G. No, sorry. And there we go. So there's our triads, and then we can try and make some sort of chords that fit nicely with this. I'm going to grab Serum again. And I'm just going to grab like an LFO and make sort of wubby kind of shape. Put it on the cutoff. And just shift this up. And then let's try and make like dotted notes. So it'll be like a syncopated rhythm. Okay, I want to try and make some space in these chords because they are too close together. I'm just going to shift these up an octave. Let's try and move this whole chord up an octave and maybe bring this down. I'm going to change this to an envelope and just draw this in, draw in the rhythm. Bring those in. And we just grab these and copy them. Let's shift that up. Do that one too. Can try a quicker rhythm. Okay, I'm just going to add a bit of reverb. Let's try and adding another harmonic to this. That's got quite a lot of tension in it, I like that. Let's just hear how it sounds in the context. Let's just try shift it up even more. And then this one, maybe we can shift that up a bit. We could have this down. Let's try shifting up the last two notes here. It's a nice little variation. Okay, so there's some chords that we can also use in the track. I'm not sure if we will use them, but that's just to spice things up a touch. I'm going to turn that off for now. Okay, so the next thing I want to get into then is the drums. So let's get back to the handy little notepad. Okay. So his kicks are all really soft with no aggressive clicky top end and a nice subby tail. So I've got some drums that I use for this style, which will probably suit that. So if we just listen to the track and then find a kick that fits nicely. I'm going to create a MIDI track and just grab a note for each beat and then loop this and try out my kicks one by one. I think 6 or 2 was the best. I think I'm going to settle for 6. And I'm just going to cut out a tiny bit of that hat sound in there. Yeah, so sounds about right for the kick. I'm sure I don't need to explain the kick pattern. You know, if you know who lane 8 is, you know that it's all mostly 4 on the floor. We've got a kick on every beat. Pretty simple. And then I just want to sidechain everything to the kick, so I'm going to grab all my synths, put them in a group, and then grab a compressor. Just normal Ableton compressor. And sidechain from the kick. Okay, and in his tunes I don't really hear like overdone sidechain, you know, you don't hear this pumping. So what I'm going to do is just add an EQ to the sidechain and just cut out all the lows from it. So it's only reacting to the tops. Then we can just play with the release until we have a nice sidechain that sounds good. Okay, so let's find a clap now for this. So with his claps, clap and snare lands on the 2nd and 4th beats. I'm sure you know that already. You know, the kick, hat, clap pattern, boots and cats. And there's also usually a really soft organic sounding sample, possibly a combination of real hand claps and percussive sounds like claves, woodblocks, rim shots, etc. However, I do notice the use of a classic 909 style clap or acoustic sounding snare sometimes. So I think for this I'm gonna just go to my nice drums folder and just listen through these claps until something catches my ear. I think I like that one. Give it a try. No, it's like kind of dark but also clappy sounding. Now we could try and shift this clap a bit back. You know, sometimes this sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. Let's just see. In my opinion, it only sounds good when you have like a kick with a really strong transient, and because this transient is so weak and soft, doesn't really give you that bite. I think it actually sounds better because it's kind of pushed back a little bit. I'm going to turn that off and just try another one. This one's nice and like percussive. Oh yeah, I really like that one. So maybe these can be our 2 claps for this song. We can use this one in the climax and this one throughout the rest, and together they kind of work. Maybe a bit too much in that 1K range. Okay, so let's just keep these running. Now, I think that's good enough for now for the kick and the clap. When we are adding details to the full song, we can create some cool variations and, I don't know, like reverse claps and stuff. So next up is the hats. And what have I written down for hats? For his hats, he seems to mostly use a simple open hat sound on the 8th note offbeat and back it up with some sort of shaker or another closed hat playing the 16th notes. Okay, so we just want to find like a sort of, you know, classic open hat sound, but not like a 909 hat, because that's a bit too aggressive and I never really hear it in his songs. You know, something like that, or like that. That's nice and wide. Sounds like something he might use. Nice and quiet. And just on the offbeat. See if another one fits better. I'm going to try this one, and I'm just going to shorten it so it doesn't run over into the next beat. I think they layer together quite nicely because you have that wide hat and that centered hat. Let's just copy these over. And then I said we're going to add a shaker of some sort. Just find a shaker loop. I think I like that one the most. this nice and quietly. I'm just going to change this to Complex Pro because the warping sounds a bit better on Pro. Yeah. Okay, so that's alright for that. Okay, now we've got to remember that because we've got swing on our Arp, we need to add that same swing to shakers because they're also playing 16th notes. Just add that to that. There's a bit of low end in these. I think the high end on these hats are maybe a little bit sharp. I'm going to take out some of that. Maybe we can pan these around. Some auto pan. Okay, and then percussion wise, nothing really stands out to me as unique. So I didn't really listen to it and go, wow, that sounds like lane 8 percussion, because most of the songs the percussion was, you know, pretty different, and it's usually quite subtle too. So I think, you know, my guess is that he just has a bunch of different loops that he auditions and finds something that works with the track and sticks with that. I might be wrong, you know, for all I know he sits there with some bongos and plays in his own percussion, who knows. But yeah, I didn't hear anything that sounded like that, so I'm just gonna go with good old loops. I like these loops. I'm gonna try this one. Feels like something's lagging a bit behind. Maybe this clap does need to be like perfectly on the beat. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think that part of the loop works. Let's just try cut that out. Just delete those. Maybe we can shift this a little bit forward. Cut that one out. The same thing with these. Maybe we can move this one a bit closer to the beat. And remove that one. Okay, let's just hear how that loop sounds now. Yes, that's nice. It adds like a lot of variation to, or a lot of subtle variation to the claps, and takes out a bit of the work at the end for us, where we don't have to now and go and make that variation ourselves. I'm going to try another loop. Yeah, I think this one works well. There's a very subtle, like, high-end percussion in this loop that I like. I think I can get away with just using that bit. Yeah, that sounds good to me. And what I like to usually do is to add a bit of drum bass to this, just to the percussion, or to all the percussion. Not sure if he does this, but I like the sound of it. See, the kick might be able to come up a bit. Let's try that other clap again. Without this. Okay, I'm not sure which one I prefer now. I'm gonna try and find like a real hat. Where's real clap? So let's try that. I think that one sounds nice. Yes, I'm thinking in the climax what we can do is just bring all these in together, but in the intro maybe we can have just this, and then in the first drop we can have them together, and then yeah, climax like that. Okay, let's just save all of this. Now we can begin to build our structure. Okay, so I've just gone and analyzed this Lane 8 Atlas layout, and what I can see here is basically he just starts the song off and it's got like a quiet drone kind of sound, and just a few lead sounds in there that play later in the track, but they're kind of just really quiet and in the background. And then after, you know, 8 bars, starts fading in the main ARP, and then after 16 bars he brings in the bass while that ARP is still fading in and getting louder and louder. And then after these 16 bars, oh sorry, this is just a loop marker. So then this whole section is kind of just the main melodic loop that you hear in its entirety. And then he starts to fade out the sub, and then sub's pretty much completely gone at this point. And then we've got a little clap that hits here, sort of like a drum fill. And then all the drums come in. Well, not all the drums, but we've got like a kick, clap, and a hat. And then in this section, he just adds another new hat, like a main hat that's just a bit louder. And then after that, we've got another 16 bars. He adds shaker in for these 16 bars. Then removes the kick, and this is sort of like the breakdown, but it's not really a breakdown. He just removes the kick. And the bass kind of fades out a bit over here, like it just gets quieter and quieter. And then we've got a sweep. And then over here the ARP changes, it goes up an octave. Some of the notes change around and stuff. And then we remove all the drums, and he adds a sweep, and he starts building into this final section. Then we just have the drums, just the kick, and the main melodic loop happening over here. And then over here the bass fades out a little bit, and then we have all the drums come back in, the main big drum loop. And this is our climax. And then over here, all I really noticed the change was there was a crash over here. It might have been other things, but I didn't really notice them. And then we just start fading out the sub over here, the sub bass. And then we have the end. So the main thing that I notice about this is that it's really, really, really simple what he does. It's just tons of automation, and the song is constantly changing. Like there's really not many elements happening, but the elements that are there, each one plays its part really well, and it changes a lot, and there's tons of variation. So that's going to be like our main focus for this track, is we've already got all the elements, the song's basically written. We just now need to sequence it out, lay it out nicely, and create a whole lot of interest. Okay, so let's match up this layout now. I'll just start out by getting all my drums in place. So we want the drums to start over here. And with the drums we can have, let's just duplicate this again. And then over here we remove the kick. grab all of them and paste them in here. This is the end of the song. And the kick goes over here. Okay, so here we have no clap or hats. Those are claps. Those are hats. So we have just the kick. And then I think for this section we will remove. Okay, let's just listen to these drums. Okay. Yeah, so for this section I think I'm going to remove that hat and then we'll bring it in over here along with the new hat. So we will only have one of these hats in this section. Yeah, I think what we will do is remove this hat from here. And remove the shaker. Shaker can probably be a bit louder. And then remove the shaker from here too. And then this section gets a bit more energy from that hat, and then this section that shaker adds the energy. Okay, so that's the basic drum idea down. So now what we want to do is kind of just lay it out melodically. So let's grab this, all of this, and just move it in here. And then listen to it with the drums. One thing I noticed when I was referencing the track is that the ARP actually sounded pretty distorted on his. So I'm gonna try just add some decapitator. See how that sounds. Try different models here. Back off a touch on that. Okay, I think just listening to this, I know that this section's coming in, but I think we should have, if I look at the automation's exactly the same in these two sections. So in this repetition, I want to change the ARP slightly. See what we can change here to give it some interest. Maybe we can fade this in a bit. And maybe this automation can be just a little bit more open. Yeah, I think when this filter is opening up, it's getting too crushed by this decapitator. So maybe if we compress it before it goes into this, so that the louder notes are a bit quieter. Push the overall volume back up. Okay. So now the music continues. And what comes in here? We have a sweep. Okay. And we remove the kick. Oh, so we removed the kick. I still think this is a bit too much. so for this section we now bring that octave back down just in this section. So we remove all drums here, so these need to continue. And just remove them from this section. Yeah, I think because this section is pretty open, we have more space to open up the filter on the pluck. Let's just bring this up a bit. Okay, so that's like basic, very basic melodic layout for that. We still need to figure out when we're going to start adding this whirly in and taking it out. And then we need to add in like our drone and make the intro. One thing I can do is just move the bass over here. That's where we're supposed to bring it in. And the ARP I'm just going to leave over there, and we'll start fading it in around about here with like an auto filter or some volume automation or something. Okay, so let's keep this up pretty simple for this section. And let's do the volume automation with the utility here. So let's see, we start fading in the ARP around here. I think what I'm gonna do is just like remove this. Just have this nice and quiet and like low passed. We can do that. Gee, does this thing have like a softness to it? Then we need to make some sort of like a drone. And what I'm thinking for that is to just resample this Arp. We can find where it's nice and bright. Or maybe just in this section is fine. So what I'm going to do is just set this audio to resampling and then record. Okay, I think that's fine. And then we're going to turn that into our like little droney sound. So let me see what happens if we pitch this up like 12 semitone. Okay, and then why don't we try something like a grain delay? And just start messing with the and really just like mess it up and make it super wide and weird. And then what we can do is you take Pro R and make it like a very large reverb, like what's this black hole, 20 seconds. Yeah, that's cool, but let me try filter it before we go into the reverb. And we can filter it after the reverb. Let's try and shift this back down. No, I think it sounded better higher. Let's try to just turn off this grain delay. Okay. I'm not too sure about this reverb. Let's just try to turn that off. Yeah, how it sounds when the ARP starts fading in. Oh my god, it's on 9, that's why it sounds so out. Let's hear that now. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Yeah, so I think this little thing sounds alright. I think this can fade in much longer. I'll probably just repeat this over and over. Yeah, so we need to just really work on these automations and figure all of that out. I'm going to take a little break for today and continue this tomorrow. Okay, so I woke up this morning and listened to Atlas again and made some notes with a fresh ear. And as you can see, there's a ton more notes. And each one of these notes is a change to the song. So now you know how something that appears to be really repetitive at first, first look, is actually not repetitive at all. And the ARP that he has is changing a lot. So every one of these markers is pretty much a change to the ARP. Only a few of them are changes to the drums. Now I'm going to go through and work on this ARP and just try and make these changes that I've heard. Okay, so let's just go from left to right. So we've started fading in the ARP. Yeah, with the utility, which is fine. But I want to have like a more complex sequence, because at the moment it's just doing the same thing. So we need to try and make like a full, like a nice full sequence. Let's try and just mess with this MIDI. And have the bass playing at the same time. Let's try that. So yeah, the sequence over here. What do we have now? Not sure how I feel about that. Maybe we should keep those up there. I move this one up. Okay, there you go. Now we can keep that automation going and just duplicate that. So now this intro is probably a bit more interesting. Let's copy that over. And God, with all these locators, I can't figure out where I am in the song. Okay, so okay, so at this point, let's maybe cut both of those notes out. Maybe just like that. So that's just made a bit of a change to the harp. Let's just check what's happening here. So we need a sweep and we need to remove the kick from the last beat. I think that's what that says, last 2 beats. So let's just take the kick out from the last 2 beats here. And let's find like a little sweep sound. Sounds right. No. I think this sweep could probably just be reversed over here, duplicated and reversed. And then we could just fade this one into... So we've got another. I think the sweep might have been a bit long. We're going to use it again. Let's just have a little. And what does this say? Add extra kick. So we need to double this kick up. Oh wait, what am I doing? Just double that kick. We added in the shaker. Okay, and then over here it says glitch ARP for 1 beat. So maybe what we can do is like resample it. We've got a resample over here, so let's just solo that and turn off the compressor. And like maybe reverse it. Cut this out. Put it on a new channel. Bring down the volume. I don't know how I feel about that. Try and do some other stuff with it. I also need to cut out the volume from this ARP well. This one's glitching. Bring that down. Let's try maybe divided by 2. And like stretch it or something. Let me try mess with the transients. Maybe shift it up like 7. Try playing with this texture and tones and stuff. I don't know about that. Need to try and figure out something here. Let's have a look at what plugins might inspire some creativity. Maybe Crystallizer. I think that actually sounds quite nice. It's not really glitched for this beat, but it kind of creates like a variation that carries out into this section, so might not be a bad idea. Okay, and okay, so over here I say Arp plays a lower harmony. So that means this section we maybe pitch it down 5 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's playing a fifth down. The bass also needs to play. And this also needs to go down. I don't know if that's too much. No, that feels like a full key change over there. Gonna undo all of that. Maybe if we just drop all of these a full octave. sounds kind of shitty in this octave. Let's just try and play with the bass, and maybe what we can do is just create a different variation over here. Let's move this back up. Or maybe we can just play with the, instead of messing with the notes, maybe we can play with the timing. Let's try and copy those over there. Try this out. So ARP sequence goes up an octave and changes up a bit. Let's just try continuing this, because here we have the B volume of the Serum, so the second oscillator coming in, and so that's going to sound like it goes up an octave kind of. Maybe we can have that one playing over here. So let's just try and make this section really repetitive for, you know, a bit of tension. If we just do that. Wonder if that sounds a bit weird. What if we just do that? We can probably hold out the bass note for this. And then fade out the bass. Let's just try that. I'm gonna grab an auto filter. And just fade this up to like 200. And at the same time, grab a utility and fade the volume. Maybe this section we can just bring back the normal progression that we have in the first drop. So the drums come in over here and we have that. Let's copy this one and no, not there. Yeah. And for this, I'm going to take this automation Place it here so that we're going up an octave. Just this basic repetition for the outro. Okay, what did I miss? We need to add a crash over here. Go to the good old Kashmir crash. Kashmir. That one that I like? I think so. Up, down for the last two beats. Let's do that. And remove kick for the last 4 beats. You do that. I feel like a crash would fit here nicely too. Did we add all of our claps in here? Yeah, we did. In fact, we need to create that variation in our claps where we are only having all 3 play in this section here. So I'm going to remove which one? Remove this for like a section here. Add it when the shaker comes in. And another thing I want to do is I might add in another clap, like maybe a snare, a 909 snare. Something with a bit more high end in it. Let's take out the sub from that. And then maybe just add a bit of reverb. Let's try vintage verb. Yeah, like that. Yeah, what am I missing here? So we've got this fill that we're missing. And we need to start cutting the bass from here. Cut the bass from here and then add like a little fill thing. Just grab like a clap or like a snare with lots of reverb on it. Something like that. Okay. And another thing that I feel is missing in the last drop is the sweeps. And start fading sub out at the end. So let's do that. Where's the sub? Like maybe we can just make the bass notes sustain the G sharp throughout this outro. quite. And then maybe just a nice note at the end to finish it off. Ding dong ding. Oh, my reverb's been off the whole time. And see. Okay, let's hear it so far and see what's missing. Oh yeah, one more thing. I just want to add those sweeps into the final drop section. I think over there. Okay. Wonder if this should just be fading out. Another thing I wanted to do on this when I listened to it at first was to add like a long delay. Just so that it doesn't sound so similar to the ARP. So if we make like the delay, yeah, 3 and then the feedback really long. Make it like ping pong, 100% wet. Maybe we can fade this. Out like that. Let me just play this from the beginning and see what I think so far. Okay, yeah, so to me the ARP still feels kind of repetitive. Oh, and the bass, what I've done here is just open up the filter a little bit. Just not sure if I even like this ARP sound. What I'm gonna do, duplicate it, that we have the sound, and just try it in Diva. Just turn off that and that. Why am I not really hearing this? Turn on my keyboard and see if we can get this vibrato working. So use LFO2. Already need to read the damn manual for this thing. mod wheel. What? Okay. I'm just going to try and do this and automate the cutoff by ear. So I'm just going to hit record and then automate the cutoff. And hopefully we get a nice like organic result that way. Not from there, but right from the beginning. Okay, I like that. The only part I didn't like was this. I think it's just a bit too much energy. So I'm just going to delete that, bring this down. And then what I want to do is add these octave up sounds. So we can do that with second oscillator. Let's do that. And we can just add them in all these sections. Oh yes, and I also really did not like that glitch that we made. This. I think it just sounded weird because this is cut out. Where maybe what I'll do is render this and just freeze it. And stop that from cutting out. Oh wait. Why is this disabled? Looking at the wrong channel. It's this. Okay. Go back to that Diva. Another thing in the intro I wanted to change was the volume fade in needed to be a bit steeper, I think. And now need to go back and finish off these. Oscillator 2 volumes need to match that one. Grab that. There. And there. And there. I just want to test something and see how this synth sounds down an octave. Nope, don't like it. What if we shift this whole thing up an octave? Okay, another thing that was missing that I noticed was I put a note here to add some counter melody somewhere. Sweep, move kick, add new hat, shaker, add extra kick, bring background counter melody. I think that's like something similar to this whirly. And we should add in like something new here. Maybe we can grab Diva again. Just use some sort of like dreamy background lead. That's like quite an interesting sound. I wonder how it would work over here. Yeah, I don't know so much about that. That's pretty cool, maybe with a longer release on it. Okay, so maybe we can have this like quite filtered over here. And maybe in the climax this can open up. Okay, let's automate that. That higher octave might be a bit loud, but I quite like this. And in this section, let's bring it back out filtered. One thing I'm feeling about this intro is this little sound here is not, I don't know, up to scratch. I want to try and just use something different. Okay, let me grab some sort of sound from, this is my favorite, like, drone maker, Magnetic Metal. Tried a few of them. It's quite an interesting like layer. See how it sounds. But high pitch sounds are powerful. Yeah, that could be a nice layer. Let's just try to find something else. And that's kind of cool, but let's take out these high end. And the low end. And with this one, I'm also going to do that. And then copy that same fade. Okay, and now that ARP is too open as it starts fading in. think I'm gonna just remove that. Okay, and I think this is a bit too closed when it hits first. Delete those, bring it up a bit. I think on this final one I'm not going to put that high note there. Want to see how this endless smile is going to sound? Okay, we need another sweep, I think, in this section. Let me find something different. Let's try a rise or something. Maybe I can make a riser from this. See if we freeze and flatten this. Okay, now we can grab this. Maybe just create some sort of riser. If we automate the transpose on it. Put it on complex. And maybe we can put like an LFO on it. Maybe 16ths. Okay, this needs to be louder. Try transpose it from 0 up 12 semitones. Kind of works. Now all we need to do is make a fade on it. I kind of want this to continue and then we can fade it out. So this can be up 12. Just stay like that and then fade it out. And then we've just added in the sweep again. We can make it a bit longer here. want to add like a bit of a background white noise over here, just to give it some energy. I think this is a nice sample for that. Let's try it out. Fade it out a bit. I think at the end I want the Arp decay envelope to open up a bit. Let me just save this. And envelope decay. Same thing on envelope 2 decay. I don't think I like that ending note. Maybe we can just let that ring out for a bit. Or we can try to do this again. Just let that fade out. There you go, that's quite nice. There was another sound that we had. I think the chords. Did we end up using them? No, we didn't. I wonder how these would sound in the track. They sound really nice in the intro. They don't really fit with the ARP, that's a problem. I think it's because of the rhythm of the chords. I wonder if they played like 16th notes. Or even just eighths. See. did that. No. See what the difference is between these. Let me just duplicate that. Yeah, I think that makes for a much nicer intro. It's a bit more interesting. It kind of like grabs me from the intro. I kind of want to hear more. Okay, so I think we got like the basic composition down. I think that's you know, as far as I'm probably going to go for this video. So let me just put a quick master on it. No, I don't think we need much in terms of like mix processing, like a whole lot of compression and distortion and stuff. His mixes sound quite unprocessed. So we sort of mixed it as we went along. What I might do is just put a light side chain on the hats and percussion. I'll put them in a group and then grab the sidechain compressor from this group and paste it on here. That's way too much. Shorter. Yeah, just a little side chain like that. Just allow the side chain to pop through. So, in terms of mastering, I just want to put a maximize on. Grab a span. Turn this down, it's probably coming through my mic. Let's just check out the LUFs. I mean, that's certainly loud enough already. I think because the mix is so empty, almost like it doesn't have that many elements playing at the same time, quite easy to get it loud. There's so much room for each of the elements, you know, so there's not a lot of buildup of frequencies. Let me just check in the main section. Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think I'd do much else to the master. The limiter seems to be doing the trick. We could just quickly have a look at the bass with the Pro MB. Maybe just a bit of compression on the low end. Maybe some compression. Do my upward compression a little bit. Okay, so let's wait for this to ring out. Alright, so I think that's more or less as far as I'm going to take this today, and let's just listen to the final result. Hopefully it sounds quite lane 80. 3, 2, 1. Cool, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and catch you next time.